we go. Ooh, wow. Holy smokes.
Nice fish. Well, she exploded, didn't she?
That thing jumped out of the water like I've never seen. Beautiful fish. That's 20 or plus. That's a beautiful fish.
Well, she busted that top water.
Man, that's a pretty fish. Here, let's weigh it. Let's weigh it.
2 pounds, 2.5. Got it?
Yep. Yep, 2.5 pounds. That's a big fish.
Oh, did you see how that thing come out the water?
Yes. Never seen quite like that.
She exploded on that thing.
Jumping out of the water.
I said, damn, that's a ladyfish. Acting like a ladyfish. That one just hit it.
Nice.
They got it that time.
Another small fish, yeah. I'm out here with Don. Beautiful morning. Kind of a little bit windy, but it's only supposed to be 8 knots, but it seems a little more than that. Starting out with Topwater on this shallow lake in the marsh. And Don's put 2 in the box already with that big skitter walk, including a 2.5 pound trout. It's a very nice fish. Exploded on the bait. Jumped straight out of the water. Fully, I think twice jumped out of the water. 76 degree water temperature. We're only
in March.
Yeah. And of course this lake's only 2.5 feet deep, but still, it's March. Oh, you got him?
Oh, that's a good one. Ooh, that might be a redfish.
Oh man, that thing's hammered.
Trout.
It's a trout.
She's foul hooked too.
Son of a trout.
She's gonna come off like that. Let's try to lift her. She does, she does. Nope.
Another big one. Holy mackerel. That's a beautiful fish.
Foul hooked her.
Fire. Shoot, just step to this side for a second.
This side?
Yeah, so you're not right in the sun. Well, you're gonna be right in the sun.
Can I block it?
Okay. It's gonna stop us. Yeah, that's a lot of mud. Look how far down that thing went. Well, you don't want to wade here. Another, smaller fish. Still see what she-dog will do. I haven't had any action at all this morning. Just pick up. I really prefer to drift anyway.
Unless the fish are really concentrated, and these aren't.
Yeah, man, they have really responded to this she-dog compared to anything else I've had. And that's 2 fish that have been on it.
Yeah, I want that noise up top.
Well, spring's a really good time. This time of the year is a really good time for topwater for whatever reason. Oh! Third fish. Scared me.
Did I have it?
No. Shouldn't have jerked. I was looking the other direction. Just instinctively jerked. Man, that's a third fish since I put this bait on a couple minutes ago. I don't think they weren't real big fish, which is why they're missing it. Maybe they're trying to injure it before trying to take the whole thing on.
Seen that last one I caught was a foul.
Yeah.
She missed it. She just tried to kill it.
Yeah.
Got a little too close. There's one I got. Oh, that's a good one. Nice trout. Pretty trout.
Yeah. Another good fish. Wow. That's a beautiful fish.
You got him.
I got him. Didn't really set the hook.
I heard him get on it. I said, he got it.
Good time to put on suntan lotion. Not doing any good? Oh, getting some. Oh yeah, nice fish.
Many spots at all. Pretty fish though.
Oh! Whoa!
There you go.
Oh man. Well, that's not quite as big as I thought I had caught a 5-pounder. The way that thing hit. Yeah, he's kind of tangled up. Ah! Goodness, I must have just had him wrapped up in the line. I had one hit on it. Oh, right there's one.
There you go. I'm telling you, right in here, man, that's doing pretty good.
The little one, but
Oh, yeah, big fish is here.
amazing that these little ones are hitting this top water. They're not hitting other stuff, even like a cork.
They'll hit bottom for sure.
Won't hit a cork, but they hit a giant she-dog. Oh!
You got that one?
Got it. I can keep him on. That's a good fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a boga.
I'll hold it up for the camera.
Oh, okay.
There we go. She-dog. That's the answer to the question. What did we fish? What is productive today?
All top water.
How do you catch How do you catch fish today? Today it's all about top water. They won't
There's another one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's a good one. Told you when that tide changed. Something good we're gonna happen. That's a nice fish.
Yeah. So it's not actually that unusual that the trout would only respond to a topwater bait. I've actually seen this before, especially in the spring. And in fact, I have a video called Topwater Day, and I'll link to it here. But on that day, just like today, they really only wanted topwater, and that was around about the 10th, maybe the 9th or 10th of April. So it was a couple weeks before the video that you're seeing now. But still, same kind of pattern, that the trout really only wanted a topwater bait. Here's another one. They are hot on topwater. Holy smokes.
You said we was coming today for topwater?
I did, but I didn't mean all day. I didn't think it'd be all day.
Nice.
Topwater magic. Another one.
Got it?
Yep. Got him. These fish. Try the boga today. Fell out. No wonder they get away. Thing fell right out. So it's not an accident that we caught most of our fish today on topwater, because we tried a lot of different baits, the usual suspects, the tight line swim baits, the shallow running jerk baits, shallow running twitch baits, and of course the cork. Now the cork did catch some fish, not nearly as many as the topwater, and plus they were really small. I mean, maybe I caught a couple that were more than 12 inches on that cork, but not a lot. And the other interesting thing was that the topwater presentation that was appealing to those trout was a continuous and fairly aggressive motion walking the dog back. They didn't like the pauses. If you paused it, you were wasting your time. They wanted that continuous thing. And as Don said repeatedly today, he said it's like you have to get the trout mad in order for them to hit it. And I got to play with some new equipment on this trip. And most importantly, the Power Pole micro anchor. This is a shallow water anchor. This is a sweet little device. This is the head of it, which you mount onto a bracket. The bracket stays on the boat. You can pull this off. It's 7.5 pounds, 60-watt motor. You can look it up to see the details, but this thing is supposed to work with up to a 1,500-pound boat, and it had no problem holding my boat in a stiff wind. Really worked very well, very fast. At a high speed it can drop at 1.2 feet per second. So a very fast stop and plenty of power to run that pole deep down into the mud. Another feature that I really like about it is this wiper on the bottom. The pole goes in the top, and then you have this little wiper on the bottom. So if you use stick-it poles as anchors, you know that in Louisiana the pole usually comes up with a lot of mud on it, and then I don't like bringing all that mud into the boat, so sometimes the only way to get it off is actually take your hand and just run it down the pole, and then you come up with a really dirty, muddy hand. It's kind of a mess. Sometimes you can just shake the pole in the water and some of it will come off, but this wiper worked perfect. Every time that I took the pole back out of the unit, it was completely clean, like somebody washed it. It was really amazing. So this is the head of the unit, and there's of course another part to it, and it's the pole. Now I was using an 8.5-foot pole, and that was more than ample to stop me. I think that is probably wherever I fish in the marsh, probably up to 5-6 feet, that's going to stop me. The pole itself is a 3/4 inch pole, and I was already using a pole as a shallow water anchor with a leash. So I already have a mounting place in the boat for my pole, It's tucked away out of the way, doesn't get in the way. So moving to the shallow water anchor was a very easy thing for me to do. I'd really resisted putting on one of the big power poles. It just is too much weight hanging on the back of my transom. And I have a fairly small boat, and I'm very fussy about the trim on my boat, meaning the balance and the trim when it's sitting in the water. One of the best things about my boat is that it's light, and that's one of the benefits of it. So it has a very shallow draft, it's easy to trailer, it's also very light, so it's very buoyant. So I don't want to lose those characteristics that are some of the best parts of that boat. So hanging a big, full-sized power pole shallow water anchor on the back of my boat was something that was very unappealing to me. As far as control goes, the head itself has up and down buttons, so you could actually control it from the head. They also give you two other control methods. This is a little key fob, or a little fob. I just hung it around my neck, and it has an up and down button. If you click it twice, you click the down twice, quickly, it'll go down automatically and stop. It'll work its way into the mud and stop. I didn't even actually use that because I didn't think it was necessary to go down as far as it could. Because it could go, I know it could almost bury the pole. We have such loose soils here in Louisiana and much in the marsh, in the upper estuary. And then there's an up button on the other side, which again, you click that a couple times and it'll take the pole right up into the head. And then the third control unit that they give you is it's a little 2-button device that is, it's just like a little touchpad, and you can put it on your console somewhere. I didn't even drill holes. I just used the adhesive that came along with it. So I just pulled off that, stuck it onto my console, and it's very secure there. So definitely a winner on the power pole micro anchor. And then the other piece of gear that I use today in a different way than I had before is the Boga Grip. Now, I had recently bought a Boga Grip for the wade fishing that I was doing. It's kind of an essential piece of equipment. This is the smaller Boga Grip version with a weighing scale on it up to 15 pounds. These are apparently very accurate. You can even get them certified if you're looking for world records. And of course, everybody knows this is a high quality. This is the fish grip. This is the preferred and recognized as a quality fish grip. And indeed, I mean, it's so easy to open this. I had bought a real cheap one, like a $25 one years ago, and you could hardly even pull it with one hand. You could hardly open up the jaws with one hand. It was almost a worthless piece of equipment. And plus it quickly got corrosion, and then it was even harder to open. So I just never used it. But as you saw, this thing, as you saw in the video, it also is very useful to have just right there hanging on your belt, and instead of handling the fish, you can just grab them by the mouth, extract the hook, and never actually touch the fish. Now that's good for a couple of reasons. Sort of selfish or practical reason is that I don't get the slime on my hands, and then the slime gets on my pole. I just can't fish that way. I feel like I'm going to lose the pole if I get a big strike. So then I typically just wash my hands. And people have a lot of different ways of dealing with that. Some people use a towel and they grab the trout with the towel. They don't actually touch the fish. Other people touch the fish and then they wipe their hands on the towel. Some people just wipe their hands after they touch the fish on their pants. So either way you do it, I always wash my hands. I just can't deal with some of those other methods. And then the second benefit to that of using a system like this where you don't touch a fish is a benefit to the fish, because you don't remove slime from the fish, and it's just a lot easier. Now, there is a warning about using the Boga Grips on the really large trout, because when their bodies are so heavy and you're lifting them up and carrying them around by their lip, it's not so good for them. You could actually damage the fish. So what I have heard there from biologists and other big trophy trout fishermen is that you really have to support them. You can put it up there, people do weigh it, but then supporting the fish. I've seen people do this where they lift it up and it looks like it's going to actually break the head of the trout right off, because it isn't really much better than just holding it up, because there's this, at the neck there's this sharp bend. So it looks like you really have to still support the really large fish. So anyway, these things are expensive, but these things are amazing. Boga Grip. Hey, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you again in a week or two.